So let's move to other useful functions, and this time around we will be moving to type conversion functions. So these are used to convert from one data type to another. So before we start doing the conversion, there's a function we need to first understand called the type function. So this basically just tells us what is the data type of an element or of a variable. So for example, if we have z equals to 3.14, we can search for the type and say type z, as pass z into the argument, and it comes out and tell us this is float because 3.14 is float. So same thing if you have a string. Let's say we do string number equals this, and we do type string number. So that comes out as string. So that is the type function. It just basically tells us what is the data type of the element or variable. So we can convert from one data type to another. So let's say, for example, this string, we want to convert it back to an integer. So we can say integer number equals, we use a function called int to convert any data type that is appropriate back to an integer. So we can see that the string we have is 10, so which it is appropriate to convert it back to an integer. So we just pass the string number variable into this, and we'll print integer number and also print the type. What's the type? Integer number. So when we run this, you can see now that we have 10 and the type is telling us that it is an integer. So we have successfully converted a string to an integer. So because it is appropriate to convert that particular type of string to an integer. So if you have a string of text or words and you try to convert it to an integer, you're going to come up with an error because that is not an appropriate format to convert to an integer. So an integer can also be converted to a float. So let's say float number equals float, and we'll pass in the integer number we had earlier, integer number, and we'll run type float number, and we'll do print float number. So that is giving us 10.0. So the print has to come before the type. So let's redo this and say type float number. And we can see that we have a float. So we've successfully convert an integer to a float. So because it is an appropriate format to be converted to a float. So sometimes, like I said, you cannot convert just some variables or some text elements to numerical values like maybe float, integer, and the rest. So another thing we can also do is that it is possible that we can convert a boolean to an integer. We know boolean which are true or false. So let's say we have a boolean value which equals to true. So we can do integer boolean equals int, and we'll pass in the boolean variable. and we'll do print integer boolean, and also do type integer boolean to see what type it's going to bring for us. You can see that we now have 1 instead of the true value, and we have the data type to be int. So if the boolean value we provided earlier is false, then the integer value will be equals to 0. So sometimes we have the 1 0 1 0 can be used to represent boolean, and also we can use true or false to represent boolean value. So we have come to the end of this section on built-in functions for Python. So don't forget to like this video, put your question in the comment section, and subscribe to this channel. Happy coding.